The Dead Sea has been renowned for ages for its high salt content and therapeutic properties. Yet, the once mighty body of water has been shrinking at an alarming rate in recent years. Now, shocking footage has come out showing the drying moments of the Dead Sea as we know it. But what lies beneath the newly exposed land? Join us as we unearth the magnificent secrets that have been buried for thousands of years beneath the sea. The mythical cities of Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed about 4,000 years ago as a result of human evil and divine retribution. Flash forward to the dawn of the 21st century, and a suspiciously worrisome yet beautiful phenomenon can be discovered on the shores of the popular Dead Sea, surrounding the ancient ruins, maybe signaling a reenactment of the sinner's destiny in our day, and the gravity of our sins cannot be overstated. Of course, that is a little dramatic. Nobody's going to convert into a salt pillar, but one of Israel's crown gems of nature may soon be gone for our mud-applying hypersaline escapades. The phenomenon we are referring to is the formation of sinkholes, each one unique like a snowflake, in sea levels that were fully covered by water 60 years ago. In fact, levels have dropped by around 33% since the Flintstones first aired in 1960, and are dropping by a meter per year. The history of the Dead Sea's demise is marred by deception. The fact that many people who visit the area are unaware of the situation also contributes to its demise. The hotel area in Ain Bokek has stayed at 392 meters below sea level for as long as anyone can remember. This makes for a relaxing vacation and hides the fact that an artificial pool called Pool 5 is taking water from the rest of the sea's upper basin and sending it through the Dead Sea Works factories, where it goes through an evaporation process to make minerals, mostly potash, leaving the upper basin defenseless. Traveling across the Dead Sea on Highway 90, Israel's longest route allegedly built to a sinkhole-proof design, one can see the barren, decaying regions, such as Kibbutz Ein Gedi's hotel resort, wrecked by the sinkhole's convergence. This not only poses a significant threat to Ein Gedi's income and infrastructure, but it also poses a risk, as one of the hotel staff fell a few meters into a sinkhole. The majority of Ain Bokek's tourists have left the upper basin of the sea. When Ein Gedi's beach was ruled unsafe for visitors in 2020, the only other accessible beach is the basin in Kalia Beach near the basin's northeastern tip. The main reason for the sea's decrease, at least in terms of numbers, is the National Water Carrier, a mass industrial redirection of water from the Dead Sea's main water supply, the Jordan River, for agricultural purposes. It begins in the Sea of Galilee and proceeds to the lower portion of the river that leads to the Dead Sea, which has now taken on a cafe au lait hue. It is primarily comprised of untreated sewage, groundwater seepage, and agricultural return flows, and is surrounded by infrastructure and large-scale pumping stations that would give the drab, brutalist Unité d'Habitation building in Marseille a run for its money. With Israel monopolizing the river and Lake Kinneret's water, withdrawing between 580 and 640 million cubic meters per year, Jordan withdrawing 290 MCM per year, and Syria, while having no access to the river itself, building dams across the Yarmouk sub-basin, the Jordan River's largest tributary, and using approximately 450 MCM of surface and groundwater resources, the Jordan River's current annual discharge to the Dead Sea is estimated at 20. That's a lot of water in my opinion. Wadi Mujib, also known as the Arnon Stream in the Bible, is another huge water source that is said to empty into the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea reached 180 meters below sea level during the last ice age, flooding the canyon and forming bays and accumulating sediments. When the lake's water level plummeted, blocking the canyons, the lake had to breach through a crack in the sandstone, forming the Wadi Mujib Gorge and a huge drainage basin to the Dead Sea. However, in 2004, the Mujib Dam was built between the cities of Madaba and Kerak, withholding 35 million or 1 billion US gallons of water to supply Amman due to Jordan's severe water scarcity, exacerbated by forced immigration following its many wars, population growth, and water lost through leakage, under-registration, and corruption. Despite this, academics promise us that the Dead Sea will never completely dry up. As saline levels in the water rise, the rate of evaporation in the sea reduces. These levels will presumably stabilize in a few decades. This will not happen until the sea has lost another third of its volume. According to Guy Golan, a soil and water expert, the salinity of the sea is currently 34.7%, about 10 times that of the Mediterranean. He claims that by the time the sea reaches balance, it will be unfit for humans to enter. Golan moved to the Dead Sea area 5 years ago and founded Dead Sea Secrets, which offers 7 unique trips showcasing the area's hidden gems, such as Land of the Sinkholes. He offers the tours due to the otherwise inaccessible beauty of the land, as well as the danger of unassuming visitors wandering around on their own. I wanted to use all of the scientific tools at my disposal to highlight this really beautiful site so that people could see what is happening to the Dead Sea. The place is undergoing a unique process that is unlike anything else on the globe. The sinkhole area surrounding the Dead Sea's coast has become quite the attraction, attracting many a photographer to its jagged precipices due to its wild, dynamic, and ever-changing character. Sinkholes arise as unsaturated groundwater dissolves 10,000-year-old, 5 to 20 meter thick salt rocks at depths ranging from 5 to 65 meters along the shores, newly exposed from retreating sea levels. They create voids that eventually collapse to generate sinkholes. Around 6,000 have been mapped since the 1980s, with a steadily growing creation rate that peaked in 2015 with 700 new sinkholes. Their diameters range from less than 1 to 40 meters, and they are concentrated in about 50 locations. Using INSAR and LIDAR, the Geological Survey of Israel developed multiple approaches to track and monitor sinkholes along the coast, and their temporal and geographical advancement, light detection, and ranging. We made our way down to the seaside, carefully crossing a barbed wire fence that other passengers had graciously cut a hole in. The trip continued with lectures on the geology of the area, discussions about morals and where we go from here, and photo snapping while scouring the many various shapes made, traversing over canyons that collapsed inward utilizing Ori's ladder. We arrived at a stream running through a canyon and body rafted, allowing ourselves to give in to the flow and be guided by it all the way to the sea's intersection point, where we had a good warm cup of tea before heading back. Getting a bird's eye view of a clustered sinkhole would be a trypophobic's worst nightmare, if it weren't for the gorgeous clear water in the sinkholes, which varies greatly in color and shade due to rain and groundwater flowing to the sinkholes and passing through various minerals and algae on their way there. We came across several unusual ones, such as emerald green waters that met oxidized copper on the way, or Dunaliella salina, a type of seaweed found mostly in hypersaline conditions that secrete beta-carotene, the same substance that gives flamingos and salmon their pinkish color. It causes bright blazing red sinkholes. The ebb and flow of the Dead Sea and the confluence of sinkholes have attracted many flying species, mammals, and fish, as well as a growing variety of fauna, resulting in the formation of a completely new ecosystem from virtually nothing. With the decline of the water came new life on the coast, Golan explains. Do we strive to live with or modify the diminishing Dead Sea? There are 2 ways to address this reality from now on. The first step is to learn to live with it. Realists will argue that whether we shut down the mineral and potash sectors and divert water to the sea or not, the development will continue. What we can do is take a fresh look at the phenomenon. Rather than dismissing the area and declaring it off limits, we can embrace the extraordinary and create a safety net to encourage a new era of tourism, allowing the public to explore the area through safer methods such as kayak trips and monitoring the gradual change in the landscape to mark secure trails for visitors. The other approach is more upbeat. Yet, like with any other hopeful solution to a problem, not everyone believes it is important. It will be dependent on getting folks on board, not just anyone but governments. The government is bound to do everything it can to stop the retreat of the Dead Sea, says Nir Wenger, head of the Tamar Regional Council. Many have tried, as you can see. It is something you cannot take away from them. There have been plans dating back even before Israel's independence, as far back as 1855, when British naval officer William Allen, uninformed of the Dead Sea's circumstances, proposed the blueprint for the Mediterranean Dead Sea Canal. It was later adopted by many individuals, including Theodore Herzl, who referenced it in Alt Newland, stretching from Ashdod to the Dead Sea. But the dedication was too half-hearted, and the project was locked in a circle of being brought up and entirely abandoned over and over again owing to economic and financial uncertainty. The Red Sea-Dead Sea Conveyance, or the Two Seas Canal, which has a similar history to the MDSC and also passes through Herzl, is an even worse case study of government's overinflated vainglory. It comprises building a canal from Aqaba, Jordan, to the Lisan area of the Dead Sea. The project, which was fully on Jordanian land, was considerably more of a collaboration between Israel and Jordan. It was suggested at the end of the 1960s, parallel to the two countries' peace efforts. It has since passed through many prime ministers, earning it the moniker the Peace Conduit. In 2009, a pilot project was announced, with plans to extract 400 MCM per year, 190 of which would go to the Dead Sea and 210 serving as freshwater, not only helping Jordan's water crisis, but also assisting in the creation of housing for 1.36 million people south of Amman. A deal was struck in 2013, and Jordan reported in 2016 that it had received 17 international bids to build the pipe, which was planned to begin in 2018 and completed in 2021. Of course, this never happened. The initiative was utterly abandoned, with the only rationale offered being a lack of interest by Israel, which was a major smack in the face to everyone involved. There is a glimmer of optimism in all of this. In November 2022, Israel, Jordan, and the UAE signed an MOU for their agreement to swap 600 megawatts of solar power capacity offered by Jordan for 200 mm of desalinated water provided by Israel to assist Jordan in its crisis. There is still drive. If you like this video, please share it and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content.